Here's the tree I want to paint. Here's my lay-in. You notice that I've got the lines figured out as to curves, straights, and how they juxtapose. I'll let some of this color run into here. We'll do a little harmony in the color. Tie my lights together. This light's going to come behind this tree here. Imaginary line going straight through. Very important. Bring it along to the other side of the tree. Do a color shift. I'll throw in a little magenta with this yellow. Helps it around that corner. Okay, so it's been over a week since I've painted this and I'm back from Carmel. Looking at this, I think I'd like to change some things around. I might bring these values closer together. Now keep in mind that this is now completely dry to the touch, and so whatever I do, I won't be able to blend any of the paint together. So I'm going to be working wet on top of dry. I think I will also darken this a little bit compared to the background here. Remember there being quite a highlight going behind the tree. That showed up quite nicely. And also I think I'd like to bring some of this green into this orange up here. That'll make a nice contrast with colors. Would like to refine the root system a little bit more. This is a little bit gestured in. Looks a little abstract. I think I might do some treatment on the rocks here. Make them look more like rocks. So anyway, let's get started on that. Okay, so I'm going to mix up a little bit of ultramarine blue and cadmium yellow light. I'm going to put some up into here, and that kind of has a nice electric kind of green. Let me show you what a warm green would look like by using a cerulean blue, which is a warm blue, and a little cad yellow. And I'll put that next to it. You may not be able to see the difference, and I don't really see much of a difference either, but there's a little bit of variety. The eye will pick it up, and you may not be able to realize it. But anyway, that's pretty much that. I'm laying this in with a palette knife. And let's work down into the rock here. Put that color in. Keep the strokes pretty broad. Let's put a little bit of the highlight into here. Bring up the contrast. This will help the tree come forward. Everything will pop. I might throw in a little cad yellow. Make it look like there's actually light behind that tree. So a lot of this is from memory. Okay, it's looking better already. So I think all I have left to do is push this back. So I think I'll mix up a little cerulean, a little cad yellow light. I'll throw that in there. Warm it up, maybe. Okay, we're getting there. So there's a lot of trial in there. Mixing a little bit of that white. Yeah, kind of get us where we want to be. Bring some of it over here. Make it look like the same tree. Bring it into the root system. Okay. Pop some of the highlights on the top of the roots. Here and there. Okay. Here. Let's make it look like it's a little more thought out. So one of my instructors in college would always say, when in doubt, squint. And so as I squint, I start to see this really coming forward. And I like to bring some of this over into here, because this is popping a little bit too much. Starting to take away from this highlight here, which I might go back and lighten up as well. So let's lighten that up, see what we have. Never know until you try it. So I'm going to use a lot of white. Let's scumble some of that into here. Throw in a little cad yellow just to change it up a bit. So that's bringing it back forward again. So I might continue to do some treatment down here. Add some texture. Spread some of this color around. You want your colors to repeat. Let's take a look at that. Okay, so this is looking pretty good. I think I want to bring this highlight over here, show there's a little bit of a root coming around here, and I'll disappear into the shadows. Certainly want to push it back. It's looking a little bit too defined. Don't want to draw too much attention to this area, and so I can always push and pull. Another thing I'd like to do is put in some purple magenta area in here. Remember there being some dead wood, some snags up into here. So I'm going to mix up a little ultramarine blue and magenta, and put it into here. Kind of mush that around. Lay it in with a palette knife and then brush it in. Let's see if I can get some texture here. Not really working. Do have some highlights. Scratch into it. So I might play around with that a little bit more. Throw some red into it. Fake it till you make it. Sure, I really like that either. Push it back with the green. Kind of like working into a dried painting because you can layer new color. Reshape things. Up here I'd like to refine the shadows. That's kind of a tricky area. I want it to read, make it believable. Have it gone off the page. It's working. Yeah, pretty close to done. One thing I want to do is throw in a little bit of red on top of this green here. Red is a complement to this green and it'll help it pop nicely. And it'll push that acid green back a little bit. So I'll put a little bit of this in here. Let most of the green show through. Scumble that in. So I think I'll leave it for now. Maybe I'll tweak with it a little bit later. But it's coming along. Thanks for watching.